next part of the Materia Medica is a product that I purchase, and aside from activated charcoal, it's the only other thing that I don't gather or make myself, and that's lavender essential oil. So another word for an essential oil is a volatile oil. That's actually the more technically correct name. Essential is a kind of a more modern appellation associated with it, but they are volatile oils. So that's, there's fixed oils, which don't evaporate at room temperature, and then there's volatile oils, those strong aromatics that do evaporate at room temperature. So that's one of the big differences between fixed oils like canola oil or extra virgin olive oil or just olive oil, and what we call essential oils or volatile oils. So volatile oils are usually manufactured, whatever processes are done. These days you can get really high quality organic essential oils if you want as well. The reason I want to bring lavender essential oil is because it covers two bases well. My goal is to eventually only use medicines that I can make myself, but I haven't found replacements for lavender essential oil. There's many kinds of lavender. Lavendula is the genus of the plant. It's in the mint family, the Lamiaceae, sometimes called the Labiate family. And I don't really discern which species I get. Usually it's a donation, and if it smells like lavender and they call it lavender and it's from a reputable company, I'm not really looking at which species it is. So to cut to the quick with lavender essential oil, two places I use it. One of them is for burns, and the other is for seizures. So they're pretty different, and I want to talk about the uses for both of them. For burns, I've read some chemistry and some potential why lavender essential oil works. It's a free radical scavenger and just delays or reduces the amount of severity of the burn and scarring. But personal experience has drawn it out. It's shown me that lavender essential oil is helpful for burns. I'm going to try to cover burns in some detail, but for right now, after you cool the burn down, so not initially, the first thing you do is cool a burn down with cold packs or moderately cold water, no ice if possible, but cold without icy is the best way to cool down the burn. You just want to stop the burn from doing harm, like the initial problem. And then afterwards, putting some lavender essential oil on the burn reduces the damage and seems to speed up the healing. So you can put it on neatly. In essential oil talk, neatly means directly. So that would mean you would take the essential oil bottle of lavender and put it on a cloth or a Q-tip and then just rub it on, or just put it on the person's finger. There won't be, you just have to be careful about exchanging of fluids. So initially, put it on the burn, and then you might have to do other stuff to cover it up. The problem with burns is they can be scarring, they're painful, and depending on the severity and depth, they can not recover very well and be prone to secondary bacterial infections. So that's the problem with burns, right? They're painful, they can leave scars, especially if they're places like your face or your hands, more like the face or any cosmetic area. And if they don't heal soon, you can have infections grow in there. So coming back to the lavender essential oil, when you use lavender essential oil, if the person has a lot of burn area, that's a much greater risk. But even if the person had burnt like a large part of their arm, they fell into a fire and lots of heat burn in here, you wouldn't want to cover it with lavender essential oil. Generally, it's going to be too strong. The volatility of these oils means that they're going to get absorbed very quickly, and I've definitely seen headaches and people feeling ill from too much essential oil. So if you get like a grease pan burn, or if you pick up a pan, it's hot and you burn your hand, that seems good, or if you get some grease splatter on you, or just not a very large area of your body with burns, I would really suggest putting lavender essential oil. If it's a sunburn, which is a condition that should be treated as well, if you get lavender essential oil and you put it in a water diffuser, one of those spray bottles, with some water, you can spray it on the sunburn, and that's a good way to reduce the damage done. I just want to make this plea here. The more you get sunburned, the more your tendency is to get skin cancer. So it's not direct. Many people burn and burn and burn and burn and burn and never get skin cancers and skin malignancies, but the potential becomes greater every time you damage your skin from getting a sunburn. So I suggest just wearing clothing most of the time when you're out in the sun. Occasionally go outside and have your body bare if you like and get some sun on you. But if you're going to spend hours outdoors, it just really is important to protect your face, your shoulders and your arms from excessive sun exposure. It's just how it is these days. I'm not sure what it was like thousands of years ago, but currently there's definitely a lot of skin issues associated with excessive solar radiation. So if you get a sunburn, there's other things to do like aloe vera, cooling it down. And one of the things, though, is to get lavender essential oil, make a pretty strong dilution of it, so it's a pretty strong smelling lavender, and then just spray that on, and that's helpful. So that's one part. So that's lavender essential oil for burns. I don't really know if the plant works. I haven't tried it yet. I just use the essential oil. The other reason I carry the essential oil is for epileptic seizures or seizure disorders. They're not the most common, but they're not the least common thing that I run into in all kinds of events. The thing about when somebody's having a seizure, a lot of people freak out besides the person having the seizure, because if you've never seen one, they look pretty dramatic. So treating seizures is something you can probably learn in any first aid class, or maybe even going online and learn how to treat seizures. It's important, and it's reasonably easy to do, right? Anybody can learn how to treat a seizure disorder, how to treat somebody with a seizure to stop them from inflicting more harm to themselves, like banging their head on the ground or just waking up exhausted and not getting some water. So some basic stuff to do. You can easily study those things. The reason I use lavender essential oil during seizures is as a smelling salt. I probably could carry ammonia smelling salts, but one time, it's one of those, extemporaneous moments when I had lavender essential oil and working with somebody with a bad seizure and not coming out of it. And so I just started using the lavender essential oil as a smelling salt. In other words, a smelling salt is a strong smell that I don't know what it really does. I mean, there must be some science behind this, but it basically kind of penetrates the neural pathways that are misfiring and causing the seizure, right? Because it's ill-patterned firing in my very simplistic description of this. And maybe a smelling salt just kind of bams it all up. It's like a strong reaction. Well, whatever it is, a lavender essential oil works pretty good. In fact, one of the only ones I've tried, so I don't have a lot of experience with others, but I've seen it help people come out of seizures when they start to go into places where they're not breathing well, and just asking the person. It's important to realize that a person who's having a seizure is not unconscious as a person in a coma who also has different levels of consciousness. And even though they can't respond to you and they might not remember you talking to them, you should definitely speak to people in first person. My name's 7Song. I'm here to help you when you're talking to somebody with a seizure. And then if they're not breathing well, is to take the essential oil, take the bottle, put it on your finger. The person might have a seizure where you might drop the bottle. You don't want to continually overstimulate somebody with a seizure. So basically, I open the bottle up a little bit distant, like right over here, and I put some on my finger, and then I close the bottle and I put the bottle aside. And so I just put my finger under their nose and ask them to breathe and to just get that essential oil smell. So that's the way I use lavender essential oil for burns and for seizures. It's really small, easy to carry. It goes a long way. A small bottle of lavender essential oil covers a lot of ground, both in burns, if you don't use too much of it, and you put in water bottles to spray on, and in seizures for helping people snap out of it.